Hello, 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 and welcome to My Empty Hands, a podcast about the martial arts, typically with a focus on Kempo, but today we got a extra special guest here, and we're going to talk some Hapkido today, and yeah, I am just really overjoyed and to hear the story of our guest and you know, bad pod, and actually, we'll actually re-record this part. But I realized that I did not get the pronunciation of your name before we started. So,
Oh, that's fine. It's Leno.
Leno,
Eric Leno.
okay. Eric Leno.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So, yeah, Mr. Leno, we are going to just get into our little chat here. I usually start things off with kind of a brief background of my history. But since we're here for you and not me, I'm just gonna say that I have advanced ranks in Kempo and in Capoeira, and
Oh, nice.
I've done some Taekwondo and some Hapkido and a little bit of boxing. So looking to get back into that if I ever find some free time. But yeah, that's a little bit about my background, and we may get into more of that as we go along. But yeah, I and my listeners would like to know. How did you get started in martial arts? How did the martial arts find you, and where did it all start for you?
Oh well, that pretty much started from when I was in a walker. Back in Philadelphia, back in the late '70s, early '80s, there was this thing called Kung Fu Theater. It would come on every Sunday,
Oh yes, I
and
know it
it was
well.
the old martial arts movies and stuff. And my mother would put me in the walker, set me in front of the television when I'd be on, and that's the only time she ever got peace from me. So obviously, I would just sit there and I would just be focused on the television for that 2 hours while she could do everything else she needed to do. So I basically loved martial arts from the minute I guess I could see. But I started in Shotokan Karate in '82 at the Glenside Shotokan Karate Club. It's right outside Philadelphia. It's a town of Glenside. And this is the '80s, so this is back then. There was no kid black belts, so I did that for 7 years until I moved to the Poconos of Pennsylvania, where I first started with the Korean arts, and I never looked back since. And that was the 1989.
Gotcha. Now, with the Shotokan school, was it just because that was the one that was close, or was there any particular reasoning behind that particular school?
Oh well, my father, he was a brown belt in Shotokan, and that's the one he recommended my mother to put me in because he did Shotokan, so he figured I should do Shotokan. And it was close to the house. It was only about a couple miles from the house, so it's just I just enjoyed kicking and punching. I didn't know about karate, kung fu, taekwondo. I didn't know about styles. It's just to me everything was karate. I'd watch Kung Fu Theater. I still call it karate movies. Everybody called it karate. So I just I was just happy to be kicking and punching. And it was very traditional. Unfortunately, the Hanshi of that of those two schools, it was the Glenside Shotokan Karate Club and the Philadelphia Shotokan Karate Club. He passed away during COVID. He caught COVID and passed away, what I heard. And now the Glenside Shotokan Karate Club is unfortunately they have shut down. I believe the Philadelphia one's still there, but yeah, the Glenside has shut down since COVID, unfortunately. But yeah, I was there for 7 years. I just very traditional. So a lot of times working stances, stepping, punching, stepping, kicking. Nothing exciting really. But I was just happy to be doing that. I didn't care. I didn't know about styles or anything like that. I was just happy to be kicking and punching. you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a Shotokan school not too far from my house, and I've been thinking about giving it a try. I went down to the school not too long ago and checked out the classes and stuff, but like with everything, there's a million things that I want to do and not enough time to do it in.
Ain't that the truth?
So we'll see. So with the Shotokan, what had you change systems? Is it just
Oh, well, honestly, it was only because, and there actually was a Shotokan school by the house we moved to in the Poconos. We just didn't know about it. But I had braces at the time, and always going to my orthodontist appointments, there was man, I consider my main instructor and my Korean father, Grandmaster Sunbok Ko, who was the vice president of the World Pro Hapkido Federation. His school was there, and we always went past it, you know. And I'd always be looking. My mother always knows me looking. So it was about a month we moved up there. It's been about a month, and so one day we're coming back from the orthodontist, and she said, "Let's just stop in here and just check it out. Let's just see." And my father always said the Japanese arts were the best. So I was kind of like, "Man, but they're Korean." And she's like, "Well, let's just look at it." So we stopped and we were watching, and Grandmaster Ko invited me to take a free trial class, and I did it. And I just fell absolutely in love with it. Just fell in love with Hapkido. Most people in the Korean arts, they start at Taekwondo first. Not me. I started in Hapkido first. I did Hapkido from 89. See, I started Hapkido in 89. I didn't start Taekwondo until 1996. So I did the total reversal.
Gotcha. Now, was that school, strictly Hapkido, or was it a mix?
Yes, he was strictly. Yeah, okay. No, he was strictly Hapkido, and he also did Kokuso, which I got ranks in Kokuso from him. But he was mostly just Hapkido. I mean, he held an 8th dan in Taekwondo as well and stuff. But he was a Hapkido man, and that's pretty much what I am. I'm a Hapkido man. I held ranks in Kokuso, and I hold ranks in Taekwondo, but I'm a Hapkido man for sure.
Gotcha. Now, so contrasting, going from the different styles, was it a big kind of culture shock? Did you have to kind of unlearn your Shotokan training, or did it just kind of work
because
out?
the kicking, yes, sir, because the kicking in both styles are so completely different. Where Shotokan, I think it's a lot of times because the Japanese, I think they have shorter legs compared to the Koreans, so their kicks are much shorter, type little snappy moves. Where Korean kicking, it's longer, more thrusting. Well, they got snap, but it's a lot of thrusting to it, pushing the hips behind it. Where Shotokan is just snappy movement, and it's very hard. Shotokan is a very hard style, where Hapkido it's a mixture of soft and more circular motion and using angles. So yeah, it was definitely a big shock, the differences between the two styles. But I just absolutely fell in love with Hapkido from the very first class. Gotcha. And I never, for 4 years straight, I never missed a day. I was there 6 to 7 days a week. I go to school, then I go to the dojang, which karate is called dojo and Korean arts called dojang. And I was there for another 6 hours. Then I go home, do my homework, go to sleep, get up, do it all over again. That was my life. I was very surprised I even went to my senior prom because I didn't date in high school. I didn't have girlfriends or anything like that. My girlfriend was a dojang.
Nice. I can relate. I started in Kempo in the 90s, and I remember instead of going to my senior prom, I went to sparring class, and
nice.
Didn't regret it one bit. So,
well, our senior prom was on a Saturday night, so there was no classes. So, no. Trust me, if I had the choice between the senior prom or the dojang, I probably would have gone to the
dojang. Very nice. So, was there, was there any? Well, I guess I should go back. Did you get a black belt in Shotokan before you?
No, I did not. I made now there's a Shotokan school here in North Carolina, Clayton, the town of Clayton, where I live now. And I know I stopped in just to visit the guy and just and say hi. Mm-hmm. And I know it's his ranking system. The red belt he has is one of the lower belts. Now the red belt I made the red belt, which was the belt before brown belt, then black. Mm-hmm. So it was a higher Q belt in the school that we went to. I guess it just all depends on the school, really. Mm-hmm. But I know I made the red belt because in the 80s, you weren't getting a black belt at 13 years old, 12 years old. That wasn't happening,
Gotcha.
Probably, if I remember correctly, you couldn't even get a black belt with them in the Glenside Shotokan Karate Club until you at least were 16. And I think you had to be pretty phenomenal before they would even award that. Yeah, it was very, very traditional, very, very strict, very, very disciplined, hardcore school.
Gotcha. Any desire to go back and get that black belt in Shotokan at all? Or?
Oh, sure. I've had the past thought about it and stuff, but my wife's Korean, and Koreans and Japanese don't like each other too much, so I think she feels a betrayal.
Gotcha. Very nice. Gotcha. So,
but I have taken up judo in the past. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Judo. So you did.
But I have taken up judo in the past year and a half, only because at the school I teach now, my partner, well, the owner actually, head instructor, he's more of a judo guy. Mm-hmm. So he's been teaching. So I've been getting paid to learn judo. So I've made blue belt now in judo. So
okay,
which is fun. Nice. I really enjoy judo a lot. I really wish I would have taken that up when I was younger. I just never had any desire for it. I guess I didn't really understand it. But judo is amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm like, wow, this is really amazing. Now I'm like, I'm an old man, 50 years old. I'm trying to let myself get slammed on the ground. It's like, oh, this would have been so much better when I was younger.
Yeah,
I really, really enjoyed judo.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've been, thinking about getting into, but not sure my body can, can handle that. But I would like to give it a try, and have been kind of eyeballing a school that's out my way, and
well, just let the instructor know, that you're older now and your body doesn't heal like you used to and stuff, and they'll accommodate you, for sure.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So to kind of maybe help clear it up for me and the listeners. So the Taekwondo kind of Hapkido school that I was at many years ago. It was, I wasn't there for very long, maybe a year. And there was not a real clear, I guess, a clear split between the Taekwondo and the Hapkido. So maybe you could help explain the difference between Hapkido and Taekwondo.
Definitely can. Taekwondo is pretty much it's pretty much Korean Shotokan. It's pretty much what it is. I mean, the Kugiwan style, World Taekwondo Federation style, it's it's definitely branched off a lot from like the Shotokan, but it basically what it was, Taekwondo was first Tang Sudo, which is pretty much Korean Shotokan. It's actually style Chuck Norris is known for, it's Tang Sudo. But then the kicks, they've changed the kicks a little more flippy and stuff, but it's all just punching and kicking, mostly kicking, really. I mean, even in I just found this out myself. I don't know, maybe I just didn't remember or if it's changed. You're not in Taekwondo competition, you're not even allowed to throw a lead hand punch. Yeah, you can't even throw. I mean, you can't punch in the face or the head as it is in Taekwondo to begin with, but now you can't even throw a lead punch, like a jab to the chest. It has to be all rear, backhand punches. I'm just like, this is why Taekwondo popularity is going down so bad. It's just they're making ridiculous rules, and it's just, it just doesn't make any sense. But Hapkido, we are encompasses everything, throwing, like the arts of judo, joint lock, joint manipulation, like you see in Aikido, stuff like that. A lot of kicking, punching techniques, ground techniques. So it's an electric art and encompasses pretty much everything. That's why I love about it so much. Now, we're not like our ground techniques, like, you're not going to go up against the Gracies and think you're going to beat them on the ground. Our techniques are more like, if we go to the ground, to get the opponent away from us or off us, to get back up to our feet to re-engage or get the heck out of there, But it is at least encompass everything. It's a beautiful art.
Gotcha. Very nice. So the Hapkido school. So as I mentioned, a lot of don't have a ton of time for everything that I want to do. I was thinking about getting back into Hapkido, and I did visit the local school, and got to take a little trial class to kind of re-whet my appetite for it. One of the things that they mentioned at this particular school, they don't do forms. Is that kind of across Hapkido, or is it particular just certain schools don't do that, or how's that?
Well, that's traditional. Traditional Hapkido has no forms. Forms are actually, there's 5 forms in Hapkido that are actually put in by Grandmaster Kwan Shik Myung. He was the founder of the World Hapkido Federation. He's since passed, but he's the one that developed 5 forms for Hapkido, and so a few other grandmasters, Korean grandmasters, took on that route. But really, traditional Hapkido, there's absolutely no forms.
Okay, very nice. Good. I've got a lot to remember in Kempo. So I don't need more filling up my brain right right now. So we'll
Well,
see.
I do have a little experience in Kempo. I used to in the mid '90s, mid to late '90s. I was hired by Sensei Bob Walton to work at his Kempo school, teach his guys, joint manipulation and self-defense techniques to add to the Kempo. And he paid me also. And part of that is I get to learn Kempo. So I got to do it for a little bit. Like, and I really enjoyed Kempo. It was beautiful art as well. And it was under the Grandmaster Dennis Tostin, the Mirror Kick system. And those schools are all over the Philadelphia area and Pennsylvania. So I think he's Ed Parker lineage. I don't remember. Like I said, this is the mid to late 1990s. I was there and stuff, but no, I didn't get any real rank in it. I was teaching so much. I didn't really get a chance to actually learn all the katas and the stuff I had to in order to test. Really, I just was teaching so much. So,
Gotcha.
but I really enjoyed it though.
Gotcha.
I think it's great art. It's amazing art.
Gotcha. So we've got the Hapkido, we got the Taekwondo, we got the Judo. Is there any other arts that you've trained in?
Yes, I've trained in Shorin-ryu, Aikido, Aido, Gumdo. I've also kickboxed. Now I've taken up Muay Thai within the last year and a half too, because the kickboxing I did in my youth was more PKA style, whereas kicking above the belt, just punching, kicking, no elbows, no knees, no leg kicks, no throws, even though PK at the beginning did allow throws. But by the time I started kickboxing, there was none of that. And you got to talk about the early '90s, real early '90s here. So I'm like this. So I've got 5 amateur fights where I'm undefeated, by the grace of God. 3 by KO, 2 by decision. But there was no money. I mean, even back then when Dennis Alexia was the world champion, I think he maybe made 100,000 a fight. By the time you pay your trainers and gym fees and all that, what do you really have left over? You still have, as a pro kickboxer, you still need to hold, pretty much hold a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It's not like boxing where you make millions of dollars. I'm assuming it's changed now because with the rise of MMA and stuff and K1 and all that. I'm sure the guys are making a lot more money now than it was back in my old days and stuff like that. But there was no money, so I never pursued that as a career, as an avenue. It stung a lot not to get paid.
Yeah.
To get punched and kicked in the head and not really get paid for it. It's kind of made no sense to me.
Yeah.
But I've had experience in that Muay Thai. A little bit of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I had a friend in Scranton, Pennsylvania, who he was a purple belt in it, and he showed me enough where I wanted to learn just enough, just for my own self-defense, my own protection, in case God forbid, if I got into an altercation in the street and went to the ground, But nothing. I'd say I got any real experience in teaching enough. But I'm really enjoying the judo, and we have a lot of the ground game in judo. Pretty much that's what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is. It's just judo, but a lot more ground game. And so if the opportunity arises, I'll definitely shoot to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for sure. It's I mean, there's nothing better when it comes to if you go to the ground. There's nothing better than that.
Gotcha. So going back to kind of the competing side of it, how did that start for you? Were you always kind of interested in that side of it, or
I always enjoyed fighting in tournaments. I competed in lots and lots of point tournaments. I've won grand championship in 5 tournaments, not like back to back, but through my tournament career, when I had to get first place in my division, I won grand championship. I won. I won it 5. I did that 5 times, but I've always placed. That's one thing I can say, except for the Pennsylvania State Games. The Pennsylvania State Games is the only time I never played. Is a tournament. The only tournaments I never placed in. But every other tournament I've competed in, I've never got anything lower than 3rd. I've always at least placed in first, second, or third. So I always place. So I always got a trophy. Which, think of what it's worth. It's a piece of plastic, right? It's fun to win when you're younger.
Yeah.
But I started because the guy I was learning Shorin-ryu under, Hanshi Carl Long, the owner of Sakura Martial Arts, Kingston, Pennsylvania. Little shout out there. he was from, obviously it's small community, the martial arts community in general. It's pretty small compared to the population of the world. So he's friends with a lot of the teachers and stuff in that area, and a few of them were kickboxing. So they set little fights here and there. So he would have me fight and stuff like that, and I did fairly well. I mean, I had pretty much hardly any boxing skill, at that time. But the kids I went up against, were pretty much the same level as I was, no boxing skills. So now my boxing skill is much better. I started learning boxing years ago and stuff like that, so my boxing skill is much better now. But it was just something, I was like, well, doing point tournaments all the time. Let me try this. Let me try full contact. Just let me see. And I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, but it wasn't an avenue I was going to pursue because there was no money. No money. And it's just, if I'm going to get kicked and punched in the head for a living, then I want to get paid. So that's pretty much why I did my fifth fight. I was like, there's no money in this. Forget it. If I'm gonna be a full contact fighter, I might as well get into boxing. That's why I felt like, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well do that then. Because I'll be honest with you, I remember when the first UFC came out, and all of us in martial arts. I was a senior in high school at that time. It was '93, and all of us in the martial arts community was like, this stuff is nonsense. Look at it now. It's a $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
Now I wish I would have got into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when the UFC first came out, none of us were like, this ain't gonna last. This is just ridiculous,
Yeah,
But,
it was a real eye-opening
so
experience for just the martial arts. Gracie's came on the scene and just really kind of turned the world on its head.
Absolutely. But it was good that it showed us a lot of what we were lacking in. That we believed, we were Tommy tough guys and all of that, and that we didn't really need any more than our traditional art. And it just goes to show, like it showed us, like, wow, we're lacking so many areas: conditioning, endurance. What happens if you do go to the ground? There's a lot of people out there, collegiate wrestlers. I mean, I got lucky; I never got into an altercation with one on the street. But you realize, wow, these guys are no joke. You see a lot of times you think of wrestling, you think of the WWE stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But or you watch a collegiate wrestling, but you're thinking like, oh, he shoots in on me, I'm going to give a knee to the face, or I'll just punch him in the top of the head. And it's like, I don't really work that way, So the Gracies definitely did us all a favor by showing us our weak points, and things that we all needed to work on for sure. So definitely a shout out to them for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's always kind of a funny thing to me, even after seeing it in the UFC, that a lot of I'm going to single out Kempo folk, but I'm sure it comes up in the other martial arts as well. But a lot of people are like, oh yeah, they're not going to take me to the ground. I'm going to do this or that and keep them from taking me to the ground. But a lot of these Kempo folk that say that seem to forget that there were a number of Kempo folk in the UFCs. One that did very well. Keith Hackney was a Kempo stylist.
Yes,
did very well, but he did fight Royce, and it was like, yeah, I love Kempo, but he still got taken down. All the great techniques that we have, didn't help. So
that's the thing. Once a BJJ guy takes you down, you've got to know BJJ. Otherwise, you're just do yourself a favor and tap out there, so you don't get choked out or get an arm broken. Just tap out. If you don't know the ground game and you get taken down against somebody who's a master at the ground game, just tap out. Don't even waste your time. Because this is coming from a person who's more of a traditional martial artist and always will be. It's not going to help you on the ground against somebody who's an expert grappler, and that goes for a collegiate wrestler as well. If you're a collegiate, if you get taken down by a collegiate wrestler, tap out. Just tap out, because there's nothing you're gonna be able to do at that point.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But a lot of
the
different fighters beast. Now. Oh yeah, totally different animal, for sure. Absolutely.
So jumping back to the Hapkido side, so what were the things that really got you all in for Hapkido? Were the areas? I know for me, the wrist. I love the wrist locks and those sorts of things. So,
well, that's pretty much Well, that was part of it, but really was the kicking at first. Because, like I said, as a little kid, I just loved to be kicking and punching, And Shotokan, like we had, very few kicks, but we had the kicks, but they were just very snappy, short type of kicks. Now I was watching. Now I started learning the kicks where I saw in the movies, the high, fancy, boom, kicks and stuff like that. So that was really what caught my eye at the beginning was the kicking techniques of Hapkido, which I really really enjoyed. Which is more from there's two lineages of Hapkido. Now I definitely believe Che Young Sul, Dojin Che Young Sul, is the founder of Hapkido. That's who I consider. His student, one of his students, Dojin Jihan Jae, who was the founder of Shinmu Hapkido. After Che Young Sul died, he's saying that he's the actual founder of Hapkido because he says he's the one who came up with the name Hapkido first. Now, there's video of Che Young Sul using the name Hapkido. So you have, the Hapkido community split down the center there with one side leans towards Che, the other side leans towards G. I show respect to both of them. They're both my seniors. They both, Jihan Jae for sure, though. He's the one who made Hapkido worldwide known. I give him all the credit. He's you've seen the movie, obviously, Bruce Lee Game of Death, correct?
Yes.
Remember the guy he fights with the gold belt?
Yes.
That's Dojin Jihan Jae.
Okay.
He's the founder of Shinmu Hapkido. So he's definitely the one that made Hapkido world known. So he gets all the credit in the world for that. Absolutely. But I just believe that Che Young Sul is the founder of Hapkido. That's just, what I tend to believe. But I respect both men, and I don't get involved in it. I try not to get involved in those politics anyway.
Yeah, I think
the kicking.
We all have that, and no art seems to be immune to that. We have the politics and drama in Kempo. We have that in Capoeira, and yeah, it's it never ends.
The Jihan Jae side kicks are always midline to low. All the high kick stuff, I will say this too, that came from Jihan Jae's side. Che Young Sul's is midline to low kicks because he's more of the Aiki Jiu-Jitsu, which is the main style Hapkido came from, is Aiki Jiu-Jitsu. But Jihan Jae, he's the one with the high fancy. He the one that brought the fancier Korean style type of kicking to Hapkido. I do give him the credit for that as well. And that's what I really enjoyed stuff. And I didn't realize I had springs in my legs because we had a medicine ball attached to our ceiling. No, I had just made yellow belt at this point. So I didn't know why Mexico. I guess Mexico he could tell. He's like, Ediki. He always called me Ediki. Ediki, kick ball. I'm like, kick the ball? He said, yeah, kick the ball. So okay. So I ran, jumped up, hit it with a jump side kick. Nailed it. Very first time. So I was just like, wow. So every test, Ediki, kick ball. I mean, demonstrate kicking I started kicking with jump side kicks, jump spinning kicks. Eventually, I was kicking it all the time. So I was a very, very good kicker when my younger years. I was very flexible. I mean, I got the splits down. Now, mind you, I had the 6-7 years of Shotokan experience prior, of course, but I never really pushed myself in stretching those years. It was just warm-ups. I never realized the importance of flexibility until the Korean arts. So once we started doing the Hapkido, I learned about the importance of flexibility. I really started stretching hard, and I attained the splits within 6 months. Yeah. I mean, I got so flexible. I go down into the straight splits, like Van Damme splits, and you could put phone books under my feet. I mean, that's how flexible I got. So I was very flexible, and I was extremely fast, believe it or not. I'm very, very fast with my kicking. Now, I can still throw some decent kicks, It takes about 45 minutes to an hour of stretching first.
Well, I think once you get it, you don't lose it. I got to be in a seminar with Bill Superfoot Wallace, one
of my heroes,
not that long ago, and he's closing in on his 80s, and he still does full splits, side splits, no problem. And
he's amazing.
He's
amazing. Oh,
he's.
Yeah, I've met him a few times. I went to a few seminars. Oh, that was one of my greatest days of my martial arts career. Was getting kicked in the face by Bill Superfoot Wallace. I bragged about that for months.
No,
I was kicked in the face by Bill Superfoot Wallace. I love that.
I'm right there with you. I'm in the elite club of those that have been. I got kicked, punched, and choked by Superfoot. So
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I said, no, I never got choked by him. Now I feel bad.
yeah, no, we were doing some kind of partner drill, and it was really funny because he like laid out like, okay, like we're doing we're gonna do like a round kick, side kick, hook kick kind of combination, and he laid it out very slow, like, okay, we're gonna do the round kick, then we're gonna do the side kick, then we're gonna do the hook kick. Got it? We're gonna do the round kick, we're gonna do the side kick, we're gonna do the hook kick. And he was like went over this a bunch of times, and so we let us go, and we're doing our thing, and I'm kicking at my partner, and he comes walking by, and for some reason I was doing something else. I don't even know what I was thinking about, but I was not doing the round kick, side kick, hook kick. He comes over, he's like, "What did I say?" It's like, "Oh yeah," and so he gets me in a nice little headlock, and he's like, "Do what I said." so so yeah, I was like,
He's so funny, dude. Oh
"Oh
yes, he
yeah,
is. He's an amazing
hilarious.
man. An amazing man.
He's
Absolutely
hilarious."
one of my all time favorites. If I have the martial arts Rushmore, he would definitely be on.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's truly a legend. So very nice. So
Absolutely.
moving to the teaching side, uh, was when did that get started for you? When were you always
Oh
interested in the teaching part of it, or?
yeah, I think I for the first time, Master Grandmaster Co asked me to take over a class for a while. He had to go in the office. I think I kind of fell in love with teaching at that point too, and that was before I was black belt. Because I said I would go to the dojo. I get from home to school. I might eat real fast sometimes. Sometimes I didn't, and I go right to the dojo. So I was there for little kids classes. I was just there for like 6-7 hours a day, and sometimes he was like, "Eric, go teach a kid class right now." And just the little kids are funny to begin with. And so I just really enjoyed it. And honestly, to really make yourself a better martial artist, you have to teach. You teach, you learn. Not only do you learn how to communicate with people better and everything else, you also learn how to make your own technique better. So by repetition, also like doing things like, oh, if I do something like this, it works even better than I do like this. Okay, so yeah, in order to be really get your technique down better, is you got to teach. And I just actually enjoyed it. And that was my first class. I taught was probably 92, 93, and I actually had a pretty good knack at doing it. So he'd have me teach a lot of kids classes and stuff. So yeah, I've been teaching really since 1993. I wasn't getting paid, but so professionally, I've been teaching probably since professionally, like getting paid for it, like since 94, 95.
Hmm, very nice. So, would you have any tips or advice for someone that is newly instructing? So, in at my Kempo school, I am newly part of the instructors program. As
Excellent.
far as capoeira goes, I've taught for a lot of years. So, I kind of in a interesting position, at least as far as kind of my view of it. But just curious for people like myself or others that are listening that are just getting into teaching, what would be some tips and advice that you'd give?
Yes. For one, you guys are in a much more privileged position than I got to be. Okay. We didn't have the instructors courses, the master's courses. We didn't have like camps and stuff like this back when I was first starting in the 80s and early mid 90s. None of that stuff existed. You got thrown in, you were taught, you're told go teach the class. So you pretty much just taught the way you were taught by your instructor. So for one, listen to your instructors in these courses, okay? Because like everything else, everything has to progress. You can't stay at the same thing and stay stagnant and become archaic because it's never going to work. Because you know I can't teach today like I taught 10 years ago. I couldn't teach 10 years ago like I did 10 years prior to that. It has to constantly evolve, constantly change. And like my instructors, they couldn't teach me the way they were taught back in the 70s and 60s and 50s. They'd wind up in jail. you know so it's like you have to constantly progress. So you guys are in a really lucky position to have these instructor courses. Also, listen to your students. Listen to them. Okay, because people have to remember, like, the whole mindset of like everybody learns the same, everybody has to be the same level. It doesn't work that way. You have kids with autism. You have some kids who are just slower at learning. Some kids are just not naturally athletic or as gifted as other kids. Everybody's an individual. That's what you have to remember. Everybody is their own person, and everybody, you're not going to teach everybody the same. You can't. It's impossible. Matter of fact, it shouldn't be done that way. Each student should get some individual alone time with the instructor. I don't want to say alone because a lot of crap goes on today. I don't mean like where parents everything can see, but like one on one is what I'm saying. Like, it's you can evaluate the student. Okay, this kid's at this level, this kid's at that level. Okay, so it's a learning process, obviously, being an instructor as well as the student. But you guys are in a great position to have these instructor courses and the master courses now and stuff. It's a really, really privileged position to be in. But just listen to your students. Listen to them. Okay. Find out their strengths, find out their weaknesses. Okay. Find out the ones that have attention problems, which you're going to find a lot of them have attention problems. And you can't lose your temper. As much as you might have a bad day, and things just don't seem to be working out from the minute you woke up. Once you get to this school, gotta leave that outside the door. Cannot bring that under the floor because that energy, the students are going to feel it, the parents are going to feel it, and that's the quickest way to lose money. Is your parents? If the parents think, "Oh, hey, this guy's got an attitude problem," like I said, it's not like the old days where you go in there, you're not throwing a strong enough punch. The teacher like a poking sword hits you in your arm, and the parents look the other way. Like, well, we're paying him to do this, so he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? Parents today, in case people haven't noticed, they spoil their kids rotten. They really, really do. And I'm not a parent, so I'm not one to. I really don't have the right to say or judge. This is just my own personal point of view. But just get to learn and get to know each student individually, and find out their strengths, their weaknesses, their intelligence level, where they're at, and everything else. Find out, ask the parents questions. Like, is little Jimmy or is little Susie, like, is there anything I should know about them? Like, because you'll find a lot of parents say, oh, my kids. Now, I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of kids lately these days are autistic. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of parents are just assuming that about their kid. I don't know how many of their kids have actually been diagnosed with that. Mm-hmm. But autism, the autism spectrum is right now seems to be out there a lot, and some of those kids who learn like that, some of them you have to really work with, just keep your patience and just show that you care, and like I said, get to know each student individually and find their strengths and weaknesses.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
And don't look for perfection. Like, don't harp too much on the kids. Like, I gotta be a good stance here. Good block. Let them just learn, okay, well, I'm supposed to like this. I'm supposed to do this. All that stuff you can clean up later as they get older, Mm-hmm. But you got to constantly with kids, you got to keep their attention. You have about at the most 40 to 45 minutes with the kids' attention. And that's just you're lucky. So you have to keep it energized. You got to keep going. Don't ever have the kids sit down. Like, I know, like a lot of classes, they'll have the kids sit down beside, bring a couple kids up, do this for them, everybody else watch. Don't do that. Because those kids, once you've lost them, got to keep it going. For kids, you have to have a high energy personality for kids, for sure.
Exactly. Very nice. I like it. So, since, Hapkido is not as, I don't know, I guess not as widespread or as well known as its Taekwondo, counterpart. What do you see as kind of the future for Hapkido? Where do you kind of see it going? Where would you like to see it go as we go into the future, especially considering with the rise of MMA and kind of contrast to that? Where do you see the future of Hapkido?
I mean, you're gonna like a lot of Hapkido traditionals to say, well, Hapkido's not a sport. You can't make it a sport. You can throw a punch, you can throw a kick, anybody can make anything a sport. Okay. Now, it shouldn't be focused on a sport like Taekwondo is. No, but there should be a little sport aspect brought to Hapkido. Start some hobby and there is an organization which is actually the only association that is backed by the Korean government right now, which is called the Korea Hapkido General Association. Now, the KHF, which was the Korea Hapkido Federation, they used to be backed by the Korean government. They're not anymore. The KHGA are the only ones backed by the Korean government now. Now they're doing a lot of sport aspect. I hope they can find that good balance and don't get too crazy and go the same way Taekwondo did, because that would just ruin Hapkido. But you got to make it some sport aspect to it, I believe, to pique people's interest and get it out there and have it known, So that's one thing I'd like to see it do. But also, I'm glad you asked me that question, because in the last couple of years, last year and a half, 2 years, me and a couple of guys I'm with, we were unfairly attacked in the Hapkido community. So, Hapkido is our heart, will always be with us, but we will be dropping out of the Hapkido community soon. We'll always be teaching Hapkido, but the community, we're going to be dropping out of the Hapkido community soon. And we weren't going to launch this or say anything until after the 1st of December, but I don't know how long it's going to take you to edit this, so you might not even get this out until after December. So I think it's okay to tell you. So me and Grandmaster Paul Holly, we have developed we call the Tung Hap Kwan Hoshin Sur. Okay. Now, Hoshin Sur simply is, in English, would be self-defense or self-protection. That's all it means. Okay. It's not an art per se. It's a self-defense system, because I was the vice president of the Tung Hap Kwan Hapkido Association, and Grandmaster Paul Holly is the founder and was the president. But we've now since gave it to Grandmaster Brian Ayot. He's taking over the Tung Hap Kwan Hapkido Association, and we have all the trust and faith in the world. He's going to do an amazing job. He's going to pick his own new board of directors and everything. It's his thing now. Grandmaster Holly and I started the Tung Hap Kwan Hoshin Sur, which basically means the Integrated School of Self-Defense. That's all it means. It's a self-defense system, not really a style per se. And the only reason we're using as a title Korean, because, well, for one, Grandmaster Holly is the main founder. I'm just a co-founder, and that's what he wants. So the main founder, he's entitled to whatever he wants to call it. But also, too, our backgrounds are mostly Korean martial arts. So we're showing that respect, giving that respect to the Koreans, because most of our background is Korean arts. But the Tung Hap Kwan Hoshin Sur is strictly an American self-defense system, with him and I as the root of the lineage. So I put out my past instructors, and I put my lineage out on Facebook or on social media 100 times over. If somebody missed it by this point, oh well. Don't ask me what my lineage is again. I'm not going to go through it again. I'm not doing it. Okay, I put it on social media 100 times. If you haven't seen it then, I don't have to tell you. Okay, but the Hoshin Sur, the Tung Hap Kwan Hoshin Sur, the lineage starts with me and Grandmaster Holly. We are the root. Now, we already have a couple of instructors that are going to be the branches of that tree. So we already have a couple of instructors that have been with us for a while. Okay, but that's going to be launched after December 1st. But you got the rare privilege of getting the inside information earlier. So, but again, like I said, I'm not leaving Hapkido. We're not leaving Hapkido. That's our, I'll always love that Hapkido. We're just leaving the community because politics and we're talking about like high-ranking grandmasters. I mean, like really high-ranking people. A couple of people we consider like brothers that stabbed us in the back and stuff, and it's just very immature attitudes. It's like, you know what, we got unfortunately, we have a sour taste in our mouth now with the whole Hapkido community. So, I hate to go drag on you, like, drab, but
no, I know, I can totally understand, and like I mentioned before, yeah, no, it seems no art is immune to that. At the end of the day, there are still people that have their ideas, opinions, whatever bad,
and that's fine.
Things
and that's fine, but but when you're bad mouthing somebody you're bad mouthing people, a whole bunch of other people you don't even know, and so the person bad mouthing is somebody you look at as a brother, man, that hurts.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm looking forward to what y'all are going to be doing with that, and we'll certainly keep track of it, and we'll definitely
Excellent.
have to
Thank
have
you.
you on again as that gets going, and
It'd be
follow
my
your
pleasure. It'd be my
progress.
honor. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we are going to move into our lightning round here. Since you are not a Kempo stylist, these questions are kind of a little bit or we'll have to kind of massage them a little bit differently, but we'll see what we got here. So, first one being, do you have a favorite technique? Now, in the Kempo world, we're kind of broken up into, you have your basics, your kicks and punches, you have your self defense techniques, you're the I don't know, kind of a rehearsed, quote unquote, rehearsed set of specific self defense techniques, and you have your forms and other things like that. So, what I would say with favorite technique is just kind of anything that you do in Hapkido or any of the arts that you've trained that maybe is your favorite, or maybe a couple of your favorite movements.
Yes, my younger years before I got a bad back and bad knees and stuff, I would say kicking techniques because I was a very good kicker and I was doing. Now, I used to be able to do that helicopter kick that Jean-Claude Van Damme does.
Oh.
I wanted to say for the record, that's the absolute worst kick. Everybody thinks it looks so beautiful on screen, and I'm sure it does. But for somebody who's actually trained and knows what they're doing, that's a horrible kick. There's no power to it. It's absolutely done completely wrong. That's not how you do a jump spinning heel kick. Okay, but I was kicker and I was really good, fast. I could do a lot of the, you know, 540s, 720s, bally kicks, all that stuff. I was really good at all that stuff. So in my thinner years, I'm 240 pounds now, so it's a little hard to get 240 pounds up in the air. But my thinner younger years, I would say kicking. Now, yes, self defense techniques. I don't really have a set of self defense techniques that I prefer over the other, but I love all the joint locks with the combination with the throws, whether it be the wrist lock, which is called a goki, arm lock or arm bar, which would be called koloki, and that's the Korean terminology. To that, to wherever it's throws or whatever, those I really love now. And it's because I also have a better understanding of the techniques of the body mechanics as well. Okay, and that's another thing I would like to say for the record. People got to watch out for when they see people talk about, all right, you have the small intestine here and the meridian here. Some of these they're compensating for actually the lack of knowledge. Okay, by using big words. Okay, I'm not the most articulate person in the world, but I know I'm very well known and informed about how self defense techniques actually work. And that's why also tell people, don't focus on pressure points unless the pressure points are using the ones in the head. Those 9 times out of 10 will work. But like the arms, body, the back, legs, whatever, learn them, but don't focus on them. Don't think they're gonna Don't try to utilize those in a self defense situation in the street, because especially you got somebody who's high on PCP or whatever, they can take a gunshot to the chest and they ain't gonna feel it. Okay, and everybody's pain threshold is different and stuff. So a lot of times pressure points don't work. They really don't. I've learned because I doing security. I'm a security specialist and I was a bouncer for many years. I learned like using the pressure points behind the ear, under the nose, on the side of the temples. They've worked out for me very well when I've had to restrain somebody or escort them out of the building. So those I would tell people to really focus on if you're going to focus on pressure points. But as far as this body stuff and all that, don't focus on that stuff. So watch out for people who say the small intestine into the 12th meridian. Watch out for those guys.
Gotcha. Going back to the kicking a little bit, do you have a favorite kick?
Man. Now it'd probably be the hook kick because that one's probably the easiest one for me to throw. But before it was probably the spinning heel kick, high and well, not the sweep one. I was never really a big fan of the sweep one. That one. Now I'm a fan of the sweep. If I'm here and you go throw a kick and I use my back leg, I come forward, boom, sweep your leg off money, and then drop a kick down on top. I've used that in tournaments many times, and that's always worked. But that low spinning sweep kick, don't. It's part of the curriculum, learn it, but it's not a very effective technique. But spinning heel kick, side kick, which to me the side kick is the most important kick. So that's another thing as an instructor, get your students side kicks down pat as best as you can. Like I said, again, when they're little kids, don't worry on like perfect form yet, but try to get that side kick down, because that's the kick that all schools would be judged on. The side kick. You can have you get the best roundhouse kick, best hook kick, best spinning kicks, best jump kicks. If your side kick is blasey, you're gonna have the other people say, "Oh, they're a McDojo," which I can't stand that whole McDojo thing. I think that's ridiculous. But they're gonna say you're not legitimate if the side kick is bad. Side kick is the most important kick.
Gotcha. All right. Next question. Even though you mentioned that they don't have forms in Hapkido per se, but since you've done other arts,
my Hapkido I do.
Oh, okay. Well then, do you have a favorite form?
Yeah, probably number 5. It's in Hapkido. It's called Basic Form number 1, Basic Form number 2, Basic Form number 3. There's no name to it. Like there's no diving falcon, hidden dragon, or anything like that.
Gotcha.
We just call it Hapkido Form Basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 is my favorite.
Okay.
Probably is the most difficult one to perform.
Okay, very nice. Next question: do you have a favorite weapon?
The bow staff.
Oh, very nice.
To me, that's the one that makes most sense. I mean, you can use anything, a broom, mop. You can use that as a bow staff. You walk around with nunchucks, you're gonna get arrested. You walk around with a sword, you're gonna get arrested. Size, commas. You walk around with any of that stuff, tone fuzz, you're gonna get arrested. I can walk down the street with a broom. I'm not gonna get arrested with that. And the Hapkido cane. And
yes.
we have cane techniques.
Yes,
and the Hapkido cane.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I was very interested in Hapkido about is the cane techniques. So
yeah, absolutely.
Very nice. Right. Next question. Excuse me. Is if there was anyone that you could train with, living or dead, fictional or non-fictional, who would that be?
Bruce Lee.
Very nice. Yeah, he's definitely the answer. I think most people include on their list. This being a Kempo podcast, of course, Ed Parker is the other one, but I've forbade people from using Ed Parker because since this is a Kempo podcast, it's like, okay, yeah, obviously you're going to say Ed Parker. So
right.
Very
but
nice.
Second for me would be Dojin Cheong-Sul. He passed in '86, but the founder, who I consider the founder of Hapkido. First would be Bruce Lee and then him.
Okay, very nice. All right. That's usually the last question, but since this is we're talking the Korean arts, I'm going to throw this other other bonus question in there.
All right.
So how what's the over under of how many hundreds of times you've seen Best of the Best?
Oh, it's not about hundreds, it's about thousands. Okay, now I think from what I understand, Grandmaster Philip Bree is making a part 5, and they're going back to the heart. Like the first one, like had a lot of heart. That's why I love the first one. The first one's considered by Sports Illustrated as one of the best top sports movies of all time. The first one, Best of the Best, And I like 2 probably more than 1 because all the Hapkido used in part 2.
No wonder I knew I liked you from when we started chatting, and that just seals it even more for me. And I don't know if you've been watching Cobra Kai, the show Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah, yes.
But
I haven't seen this part 2, season 6 yet, but I'm hoping to.
Yeah, I actually just started this morning, but just kind of previous to that.
Netflix. I don't have Netflix, so I use like the pirated sites. So I don't know what
I won't tell anyone if you won't. But in the last part of I guess season 6, part 1, there was a moment where Johnny Lawrence, my spirit animal, was sharing the awesomeness of Best of the Best 2, and I pretty much fell out of my chair when I saw that. I was like, oh my god! And he was just talking about how
oh wow, I forget that. It's like, well, I haven't seen the first season 6 part 1 since it first came out, so it's been a few months.
Sorry,
now, so.
I kind of spoiled it for you, but yeah,
I saw it. I just forgot about it.
Okay, yeah, no, but yeah, they gave a nice little shout out to Best of the Best 2, and I was over the moon about that. So very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
So Best of the Best 2 is probably my favorite one because of all the Hapkido and the fights. But as far as a movie, all around better movie, obviously part 1 will be the better movie.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very nice. All right. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time to be on with me.
Thank you. I really find it an honor and a privilege, and very excited and very honored that you would ask nobody like me to be on your cast. Your podcast. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
We all have a story to share, and I love hearing people's stories about how they got involved in the arts, and not just Kempo, but all the arts. Even the ones that I both the ones that I want to train in and the ones I don't want to train in. I want to hear everyone's story. So
hopefully maybe one day we'll get together and we can train and I can show you Hoshinso and you can show me Kempo.
All right. We'll make that happen. So
excellent.
So now is your time for shameless self-promotion. You can plug anything you want or say anything that maybe we haven't gotten to that you want to get out there, and we'll close out from
yes.
there.
My Hapkido classes are at Tigers Black Belts in Raleigh, North Carolina, on Litchford Road. Come check me out. Also, we teach judo there. Well, Master Park does, and we teach taekwondo and kickboxing. I think we are very well-rounded martial arts school. Probably one of the better ones you'll find. So come check us out. Also, Hapkido wise goes, I want to give a shout out to Grandmaster Steve Roadhouse Sexton. He's actually the movie Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze is loosely based on him. Okay. And all the Hapkido you see in the Best of Best movies, that comes from his curriculum. So I want to give a shout out to Grandmaster Sexton. He'd be a great person you'd want to interview in a podcast too, if you don't mind me.
No, I'm always looking for recommendations. So yes, I will definitely reach out to him.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you again so much, and I can't wait to get this out to everyone. And I'll be in touch.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to My Empty Hands. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend. If you didn't enjoy it, please share it with an enemy. If you'd like to be a guest, or if you would like to recommend a guest for the show, please email me at podcast@talkingkempo.com. Thank you.